You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Welcome to Two Peas on a Pod, the podcast where we explore connection, friendship, and the relationships that shape who we are and who we're becoming. I'm your host, Dr. Miriam Kermeyer, a clinical psychologist, friendship expert, and global speaker on social support and human connection. I am so excited. Today's friends are the perfect pair to kick off our Two Peas episodes. Their story is a heartwarming and oftentimes hilarious journey of friends turned family. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with the beloved Tabitha Brown and Nic Few, two people whose friendship is equal parts joy, honesty, and laughter. Oh, and a little heads up that I'll be checking in with you as always at the end of the episode with a few friendly reminders for takeaways on how you can bring a little bit more of the support, radical honesty, and yes, the kind of humor that keeps things light even when life isn't into your own friendships. And with that, let's get into today's conversation. Today's guests are two people who radiate joy, authenticity, and love. She is a social media phenomenon, a two-time Emmy Award-winning TV host, best-selling author, and honestly, the internet's best friend. He is an NAACP Award-winning actor, producer, storyteller, and together they have brought their friendship magic to the Emmy Award-winning Tab Time. And now it is time to meet our friends. Tabitha Brown and Nic Few, welcome to Two Peas on a Pod.
Oh, thank you. What an entrance.
Hey, I think I'm going to cut that and put that on the reel.
I know, right? That was girl.
Well, it is all true. And we have just scratched the tip of the iceberg in terms of meeting the two of you. But to kick things off, I would love to start by hearing how the two of you met. Tabitha, everyone knows the incredible story of you filming that iconic sandwich review in your car and that one moment that changed your life forever. So we know a little bit about your career origin story. But I'm very curious to hear from you, Nic and Tabitha. Tell me about your friendship origin story.
Damn, you want me to start or you going to start your story?
You know it's going to be a good story when it begins with laughter, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We met in theater. We were doing a play. He was actually the director. I went to a reading because they were trying to choose between me and another actress. And so there was a table read. The other actress didn't show up that night. And so I did the reading. And Nic was the director. And so he chose me. And so I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't need to hear anyone else. When she read, I was like, oh, no, we're good right here.
And so he was the director, and I am a comedian by nature. Like, I'm just a very funny girl, naturally. I love improv. It just, things float out of my mouth. It just happens. So we are in rehearsals, because Nic and I, we know each other, but we're not necessarily friends. You know, we're still getting to know each other as a director and an actor. We're doing the line. And I start improving. And he goes, you're improving and it's falling flat.
Well, first I was confused. I said, what are we doing? I'm looking through the script.
Rifling through the script, looking up, saying, where are we? What page are we on here?
What?
Yeah.
What? And she was up there just going.
I'm having a blast, honey. I'm having it's very feel good. You know, he was like, don't do that. And I was like, oh, okay. We do it again. Of course, naturally, flies right out of my mouth again. He goes, you're doing it again. we have been inseparable ever since that day.
Mm.
And that was what, 2013, I think?
Yeah.
2013, something like that. Yeah.
2013. So the 13 years of friendship and counting. It's interesting. So we know, Tabitha, your, hello there has become such an iconic catchphrase. And you mentioned, theater. And Nic, I know, as you said, you're a thespian. And so I'm thinking a little bit about the hello there, or how now in Shakespeare's English. I'm wondering about that hello there and how now moment when you had this hilarious exchange where, you were somehow diverging from the script and yet heading toward a friendship. What was the moment when you realized this isn't just somebody that I can have a moment of fun and playful banter with? This is somebody that I could really see myself being friends with. What was that moment for you?
And you know what? It was pretty instant for me. If my husband was here, he would tell you during rehearsals, I would come home and I'd be like, oh my God, Nic this and Nic that. And he'd be like, now, who is this Nic? Because you keep bringing Nic up. And I was like, oh no, babe, he's gay. You don't have to worry about it. I was like, Nic, you got to come and meet my husband. I got to bring you over to the house. It was pretty much in those first couple of weeks, something in my spirit was like, this is my friend, like, I know that this is going to be a long friendship.
Yeah.
It was for me. Like, anybody to be able to get me together, and he was so quick with it. I said, oh, I'm about to get match my energy. Like him, So it was pretty much in those first couple weeks. I knew.
Yeah, Nic, I see you nodding as well. Was that your experience?
Instantaneous. And when I first heard her read, I looked over at her and she was relating to another actor, and the light in her eyes, which America sees, I saw immediately. And I was like, wow, this is a beautiful energy that I'm used to seeing at home. And I was like, this person she has something very special about her. And as we carried on through that process, every day solidified. There were some instances that, there was one instance when we were going to I think it was a premiere for our play. And she was telling me, we arrived in the theater. And she said, where did you park? I didn't see you park. I said, oh, I got free parking. Where y'all parked in that parking lot? Good luck. I came out and there was a ticket on my car. And I called her. I got a ticket. I was in the moment. I was so obsessed. I get a ticket. And she said, girl, you should just pay that $20 and parked in that parking lot.
What was it about the physical ticket that in so many ways was kind of an official declaration of this friendship that blossomed so quickly for you?
It was her response to the ticket. Yeah. I was so adamant about me finding free parking and not paying what she had to pay to park in the parking lot. And when I got so upset, I said, I got a ticket. And she was like, oh, not your free parking. And and before that, I was so disturbed that I got this ticket. But she made everybody busted out laughing. And when she said it, she drove off.
Yeah, like a scene from a movie. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I'm hearing that. I mean, I hear that even now, right? The playfulness, the value of humor that is so at the core of how you connected and what you have encouraged and stoked in each other and allowed for. And I love that in my own friendship. So it's always such a beautiful thing to see in other friendships as well. I'm curious, was there something about that particular time in your life when you met each other that you think also fostered that quick connection? I guess what I'm wondering is, do you think if you met at a different point in life that the friendship would have been just as fast-tracked, or would something else have happened?
Well, I know for me, I was not in a place where I was free. And she saw that in me. And she made space for me. She introduced me to her family and other friends, and she made me feel comfortable. And she also called out, you're not free. And if you're not going to be free, you're not going to be safe. for me or yourself. And so that point in my life was pivotal because when I met her and I was charged with being free for myself and for our friendship, everything opened up. I think I was a performer before, but in my freedom, I became a thespian, I became an actor. And it was because my friend told me that you're not free and I see you.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
I credit Tabitha with being that. Now, and I have a brother and I love my brother. And there is something about I always wanted a sister as well. And when I saw her and she challenged me in these ways, it was just, my life became better all the way around.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
I want to talk about this because, again, we're hearing this meeting of yes, there's this playfulness, and there is obviously this depth to the relationship that you have and to that early meeting period where you were able to not only meet each other in humor, but see each other for who you are, see that light in Tab's eyes, recognize where Nic was at and how he was feeling. And you both, you mentioned your brother, and you have both described each other as siblings, as brother and sister. And that is such a special and specific kind of friendship. When someone stops feeling like they are, air quotes, just a friend and also our family. And I want to talk about that piece of it. It's interesting when a friendship becomes so special, so unique, so close, it's sometimes hard to find the words to describe it. And so we almost borrow from other types of relationships, right? I'm thinking of, some people say my partner is my best friend, and that's a way to communicate the privileged position of that relationship. Or my best friend is a sibling. And I have had one friend, I've been so fortunate to have a lot of good friends in my life who have played a big role in obviously me being here today and doing this work, some of whom are in my life still, others are not. But one friend in particular, my very closest friend, Alana, who is like a sister to me. And when I think about why I use that language and why people use that language, it brings up feelings of, sure, the longevity of that friendship or the depth and the closeness and that sense of knowing. For some people, it also talks a little bit about or speaks to the conflict that they have in that relationship and how they resolve it. And so I want to hear from both of you. What does that mean to you to not only have a close friend that feels like a sibling, but what is it about that language that speaks to the closeness and uniqueness of this friendship in your life?
I think for me, just as Nic has his one brother, I have one sister. And we have so many similarities. Like, his mom and dad had two boys. My mom and dad had two girls, right? My mom always wanted a son. His mom
My mother always wanted a girl. She always wanted a girl.
And so I think it becomes so special when you have this feeling that comes over you, and the only word you can use is family, right? That's when you know it's a real thing. It's not like, I choose to use this word. I remember saying it without even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I can't even remember when it went from, this is my friend Nic. I've always feel like I've always introduced him like, this is my brother Nic. So much so that people really think that they have argued on the internet. That won't be a real brother. No, it ain't. Yes, it is. I'm like, he's my real brother in my heart.
Yes, and yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Even my own family, my daddy, my husband will be like, you and Nic might need to get blood tests because y'all acting like you looking like some days. Like it's more than a choice.
Yes.
It really is a feeling. Like I feel safe with him. My husband feels safe with him when when I have an event, and my husband is not a nightlife person, he doesn't like the glitz and glam of going out and doing all the things that I have to do. He'll always be like, can Nick go with you? Can you take Nick? Nick is like his second as well, right?
Yeah.
But my children call him Uncle Nick.
Yeah.
Always been, even my adult child who's going to be 25, she calls him Uncle Nick,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's just, it feels natural.
Yeah.
It's more than a choice. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when I'm having a really good time without her, I'm always thinking, "Oh my God, Tab, I love this," and I'll call Tab from the girl. Look at what I'm. If I'm eating something really good, my first thought is, "Now Tab would really like this right here." And I'm out with my husband in a restaurant, and I'm eating fries, and I say, "Oh, hold on one second, I got to call Tab because these fries."
Coming to you live.
I'm sending him pictures or video like, look what I'm getting, So
yeah. This is so interesting though, because Tabitha, you describe this as not even being a choice. It's just the natural, appropriate language to use to describe the role that Nic plays in your life. And Nic, it's not a choice to send her a photo of that moment or to think of her in that moment of it just comes to you wondering, what would her reaction be? What would she be thinking? Or I know exactly what she would be thinking or saying about the fries or whatever it is. And so this word of choice, on the one hand, it doesn't sound like this is a choice to see each other as family. It's just the natural evolution of this beautiful friendship. And I'm also wondering, I'd love to hear from both of you about your thoughts on this language about chosen family and how you define the whole concept of chosen family and why this has been so important to you in your lives.
As a person that's queer, many of us end up having to, the family you are born into, often they don't get you, or they choose not to get you, and so you have to. Those of us that want to be happy in this lifetime often have to get surrogates. Right? Like this is my sister. This is my mother. And I'd never done that before meeting Tab. I've never called anybody else my sister like that before meeting Tab. But I know that in this life, sometimes you feel like in order to be at peace and happy, in order to gain what everyone else naturally has, you have to kind of create that for yourself. And luckily, it just fell into my life at a time when I needed someone. I needed someone to see me. And it felt involuntary. We went hiking together. We did everything. We did everything together. And Tab was at a place as well where, her health was a little iffy. And we were trying to figure out what was going on with her, and I didn't want to be awesome around her. And so she would come over, and I would, I don't know if you realize this, Tam, but I would watch you all the time just to see, and I was always I wanted to make sure she was okay as well. So it was an involuntary response to me because I immediately fell in love with my sister, her personality, her warmth, her light. Her ability to see, and I noticed something wasn't quite right going on, and I didn't want to be awesome around her, so everything just fell in alignment for me in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is when you move away from your family, right? Like we're both, not from California, so
That's
we
right.
both moved to a dream with no family other than my immediate family, which is my husband, child. And trying to find your village can sometimes be exhausting. Sometimes it can be an emotional roller coaster because you meet people and you think, wow, these people just don't feel right, And I've been blessed to have some amazing friends and an amazing village that we've created that are our chosen family. Just this Mother's Day, right? Nick went with me and my husband and my children, right? And another couple who is chosen family. We celebrate their holidays, Christmas, birthdays, Thanksgiving. Our chosen family is our family. And sometimes you move and relocate away from your family, or when your family passes away, your chosen is all you have.
That's right.
Right. And so they have to have a very special place in your heart, because you have to be able to trust them, and vice versa. You know, I remember during the pandemic, it was killing me to know that Nick, at that time, he was single and he was in his apartment by himself. And I was thinking, this is before we had this big house that we have now. We only had like our little 3-bedroom, and, you know, we had our kids. And I was thinking, I don't want him to quarantine by himself. Like, this is when it was new and nobody knew what was happening. I need to put a box of stuff together. We got to take it to Nick's house and just sit it outside, you know, and he can go out and get it. And he came out there. We were literally, I cried going up the road, because I was like, oh my God, Nick is by himself, you know, in his apartment. But we, you know, of course, FaceTimed every day. And
That's right.
It was really hard. You know, we, you know, think back on it, and during the time that I was sick, no one really knew how sick I was. But Nick was there every day. There would be days that I would call and Nick would have to pick me up. There would be days that I thought I had energy to go hiking. And I would say, just give me like 5 minutes. And next thing you know, it's 2 hours later, I wake up on his couch and he's put a blanket over me. His dog is sitting in my lap, you know, and he has pictures of these things. And he would cook for me. Even before I went vegan to save my life, Nick would try to tell me, sister, maybe, because he was vegan at the time. He said, maybe you should try to go vegan. And I'd be like, oh, no, honey, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
He was trying to help me get better, you know. That's what chosen family, like that's when you love someone and you want them to be well. It feels wrong to call him my friend.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It feels wrong.
Yeah. Well, I can hear that. Yeah, I love the sincerity that you're both speaking to your friendship with, because there's this closeness, there's this playfulness, there's this familiarity of, wow, we are pretty similar, and that label of siblings just fits, and there's this deep, deep sense of being seen and the support. So I want to get into your friendship. And today, hear me out, is our very first 2Ps episode ever. And I wanted to craft an interview for you that was a little bit outside of the box, the Very Good Monday box, and let your friendship story unfold in a way that is just as fun and connected as the both of you are. So we are going to talk about your friendship, but I thought we would do so through the lens of some iconic catchphrases. So can we have a moment?
Let's
talk about finding moments in your friendship. You both have incredibly full lives, personally, with families, and professionally with all of the work that you are doing. How do you intentionally now create moments for each other? Amidst the busy lives and amidst work and amidst social media and all the other commitments and relationships that we have going on, how do you find and create those moments?
So my love language is giving. I love to give. And so there is always a reason for me to make me come over here, because I have something to give you.
How strategic.
Because then I know you got to come over. Like it's just my way. I am very busy. I travel so much. Me and Nick went from being together every single day, always doing all these fun things together. We go thrifting together, go shopping together, go to movies, go working out, go hiking every day. I had all this time when sick, and he was part of my healing journey when my life started to change. And then the pandemic happened, and coming out of the pandemic, it was like, whoo, I was gone. So for me, we talk all the time. When I travel, we FaceTime, you know, we share in the experience. But anytime that I'm working and I can see an opportunity to bring my brother in, I'm like, I can A, give him the opportunity that he deserves, but B, I get to actually spend time with him, right?
Yeah.
It's like, right? And then also, I love to travel. Like, I have to schedule my breaks and have vacation. I bring them. I offer, I do a big, like, travel group. I'll say, yeah, I want to treat everybody, and he's always going to be included. And, for my birthday, we went to Mexico this past February. It was the best trip of my life.
Oh my God.
For New Year's holidays, we all were in Bahamas, and Nick spent their time with my family. My daddy love when Nick is around. He says, Nick coming, it's almost like it's wanted to. He calls and checks on Nick. I'm very intentional about, because I know that I'm gone a lot, and I know I work a lot, right? Some days he'll call me and I can't pick up, and I'll be like, I know he want to talk to me, but I can't. So when I can find a place to make sure that we can be together or spend some time or cut up, as we say, I'm very intentional about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hear that intentionality in terms of thinking ahead and planning ahead, and how can I include Nick, and how can I be strategic about cooking or having something that you can come and pick up. Nick, from your perspective, are there little friendship or connection rituals that you have found to be helpful in your friendship with Tabitha?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's an everyday little. Oh, yes. Okay, go ahead. I don't need to throw language at this. Let's hear it from you. What are those micro rituals that are helpful?
Some of the micro rituals are our text, our morning text. I'll go wakey wakey. Sometimes we'll send each other a video. Sometimes we'll take a picture with a wig on just to be silly, and we'll send it to it. It's just every day. It's that's because I know that her schedule is so busy, and also sometimes to be honest, a concern of mine is that she works so dang hard, and I want to make sure that she's okay. Her husband is doing that as well, and but also Tabitha is a hard worker. She works harder than probably any of my friends. She works so hard, and people people see the smile and don't realize she may have taken 7 or 8 meetings that day. You know what I'm saying? So my mind is going, is she smiling? Is she happy? You know what I mean? And so I'll do something silly to go, hey, I'm thinking about you. And also see if she's available to talk. So if I see a picture with a wig on, if she's free, she'll go, now, who are you today?
I love that. Well, that's hilarious. I have to say, now I'm curious to see some of the wigs, but it's, thinking about humor and thinking about improv and kind of marrying that with the value of rituals. I mean, rituals themselves, even as you're saying, like a little good morning text or voice note, it's the predictability of that. It's the familiarity of that. It's the ongoing repetition, the pattern of that can feel so grounding. It's this feeling of, I know it's coming. I get to look forward to it. I get to experience it in the moment. I get to reciprocate in this way. And bringing in that unexpected playful moment at times can be so fun. And so I think this is such a great example of how something that is so seemingly small is actually hugely consequential in keeping that rhythm alive. Yeah, I love that.
Laughter. I feel like it's our glue.
Yes.
And I laugh more when I'm with Nick than I'm with anybody. It's so healing. Like, our friendship is a healing friendship. We cut up, even when we're being serious, we find a way to bring laughter up to her.
Yes. Yeah.
Lying anything, and then I'll say something or he'll say something, and then we fall out laughing.
We have both chosen careers that are very inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? It's very inconsistent, especially now. So the consistency of our relationship makes this world, for me, a little easier. You see what I'm saying?
It's a grounding force. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk about business, because that's your business. How have you both learned to respect each other's emotional and to some extent professional boundaries and, let's say, business? What role have boundaries played in your friendship?
I don't think that it goes without being said. Like, before I became this version of myself, right? Nick was a professor, teaching acting, and he was a working actor way before I was, right? I was still working a 9 to 5 and trying to figure it out. And, I would book every now and then. He was constantly booking. And I was in awe of him, of his talent. Every time I would get to see him perform, even now when I get to see him perform, it's just, you're just reminded of like, I get to be this great man's friend, his sister. Like, this is amazing, right? You respect it so much. You respect every opportunity. You respect. I'm so happy for people, but especially my brother. I get so happy and excited that it's hard not to naturally respect. So you don't necessarily have to set a boundary because it's there already.
It's already there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's already there.
What do you think it is about the way that you are thinking about boundaries, or when you say it's already there, for people who are listening who maybe don't have that automatic appreciation or that automatic experience, or don't feel as though their friends are automatically cluing into or cueing into the value of those boundaries? What can we take away in terms of how you're thinking about what's mine and what's yours?
I think when you care about somebody, you care about how they provide for themselves and their family. Also, there are, under Tabitha, there are a bunch of people working, right? And she's the pinnacle of that. And so a lot of people are pulling on her work. And so I have to respect she's, her and her husband are providing a way for their family. And I would never want to get in. My consciousness is, hey, she needs a break. Hey, let her do this with, you understand what I'm saying? I also think because we're actors as well, part of our job is to see the other person, is to look at them, see their reactions, gauge where they are. You understand what I'm saying? That's part of acting, a big part of acting that people skip. Look at me start to teach. And so,
I'm. Do you see that I'm right here. I'm ready. I'm ready for my lesson. You have my attention. Yeah.
Being in tune with somebody is seeing, hearing, listening, and taking cues. And so when I care about somebody, like I care about my career, like I care about the other actor in the scene, like I care about what's going on stage, I have to care about my best friend. I have to see if she doesn't have time, I can't take that personally. I have to take it upon myself to go, step back.
Yes.
She needs to do this with her family right now. She needs to do this with her colleagues right now. She has 20,000 meetings. You don't. Chill out. You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's so much wisdom in what you just shared there. I mean, yes, there's absolutely the empathy piece of it, the emotional attunement piece to recognize what somebody is experiencing, going through, what their needs are, where certain boundaries or limits come from. And there's also, you use this word, personalizing. There is this almost depersonalization that has to happen to accept and respect boundaries, where this isn't an affront to my own well-being. This is actually in service of protecting yours. And as your friend, I care about you and I care about that. And that is also important to me. And so I think you have just so beautifully helped us to see that. So thank you for putting that out there. Has there ever been a time where you have had to have a difficult conversation with each other about, whether it is boundaries or a moment of disagreement or of not being able to find each other and be on the same page with respect to what you're experiencing in your friendship? Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We brother and sister, brother and sister gonna have disagreements.
Absolutely.
And all the things. But even when you have a disagreement or if there's a hard, I'm one of those people. It's very hard for me to to not have a conversation. If something is wrong, if it don't feel right, I'm going to say it. Sometimes I'm too forward, as my husband would say. But I don't like things to sit and fester, right?
That's right.
So I always try to root it in love to help people know I'm coming from the right place. Like I'm coming from my heart in this. But absolutely, we had those times. But honey, there's just like family. You have a disagreement and y'all talk about it. You be mad for a couple of days if you want to. Be your feelings. You be back.
I see the mom.
Yeah. With your mom. And then she say, she come and knock on the door and say, if food down here, y'all, you come on in here and eat. So it's the same thing. It's like, oh, you got cool. Hey, you can come on over and get some needles. You know, there's no lingering and trying to hold the grudge or, you know, whatever.
And because I know her heart, I know that whatever misunderstanding we've had, it wasn't a personal. I know that she would never do anything to hurt. And I hope that she knows that. And she Tab knows that about me. I would never do anything to hurt her. So it's always just a miscommunication or misunderstanding. It's always that. It's never, I'm doing this to hurt. So that's off the table anyway. So even if there is a miscommunication, you know, I know it's not going to last long.
Sometimes it's because, like early on in our friendship, my husband, Nick, didn't know him as well as he thought he knew him. And so I would tell him, Nick and I were having, you know, our own little thing happening. I was designing something and he went and tried to design it. Instead of waiting for me to do it, he thought he could probably get it done quicker. And so we had exchanged words. And I can't remember how it happened, but I brought up like my husband, but I told him, don't you say anything to Chance. He don't need to know anything about it. He went behind my back, anyway. And so Ben Chance asked me about it. So I called Nick. I said, you don't know him like I know him because he'll be stressing about it, right? And so that was a learning lesson. But in the moment, it felt very heightened because Nick was trying to fix it because he didn't want to hurt my feelings.
That's right.
In trying to fix it, he messed it up even more, right?
Yeah.
It was such a turning point in our friendship. We got closer after that.
That's right.
But even though in the moment it was very frustrating, it's one of those things that we laugh about till this day.
Yeah.
Anything happened, like if we're doing something, we'd be like, "That's still you."
That has just become one of the catchphrases of your friendship. Yeah, I love that. Well, and thank you for sharing that story too, because I love that you're able to, you know, look back and laugh about it and bring that laughter to our conversation today. But also, again, this is such a great example of how those little moments of disagreement, you used the word heightened before. And that's such a great way to put it, not only in terms of the stakes of a situation, but early on in a friendship, when we haven't had moments of disagreement or conflict or boundary setting, it can feel heightened because we haven't yet built that trust in knowing that we will come back from this, in knowing that I know this other person has my best interest at heart and they care about me and they don't want to hurt me. And I know our friendship can withstand this moment of disagreement or distance or division. And that's why certainly we see that the closest friendships aren't those where there has never been a disagreement. They're those where people have been able to navigate through them and come out the other side and say, yeah, we can get through this. We can do this. Our friendship is resilient enough that moments of distance don't actually create further division long term. So that's lovely. Tab service announcement. Tabitha, your tab service announcements always feel like the perfect words of wisdom. So Nic, you must be pretty familiar and fluent with the TSA.
Oh, yes.
I am wondering about your friendship PSAs in terms of public service announcements about friendship. What can our listeners learn about building real friendships as adults? What friendship PSAs do you have for people tuning in who are wondering about how to build meaningful and close friendships like the one that the two of you have?
You know, I think really seeing someone right? If you are trying to really be friends with someone, you have to take yourself out of it. You have to really like focus on who's in front of you so that you can really see them, without the influence of your own self. And so that's when you get to see someone for who they naturally are. And then you can know like, oh, this person feels good for me, right? And I actually have something to offer this person. Because that's a big thing I think a lot of people don't talk about. In friendship, relationships, period, we should all have something to offer each other. A relationship should never be one-sided, right? I have love and laughter to give. I have this sisterly love. I have a motherly love. I naturally, although Nick and I are the same age, he likes to say that I'm older, but
A little bit older, but who's counting?
Who's counting other than you, the days and the minutes? Yeah.
It's by a couple of months.
Well,
But there's still like this mother that I also have. Both of us have lost our moms. And I know that I've lost my mom longer. I've been on that journey longer. And I know that understanding and the empathy of that journey, I knew that I had that to give to me. So that's also like, it's certain things that a friend will need from you. You have to be giving, and so I think that's the TSA.
Yeah.
Everything that you seek, you have to be willing to give.
Yes, you have to be willing to give it. And I also hear in what you're saying that there also needs to be a level of self-awareness in terms of asking yourself, what do I have to give? What gifts do I have to share? What strengths do I have? What life experiences have I gone through that I have learned from? And what can I offer up here that may be valuable and meaningful? Yeah.
And sometimes if you're a negative Nancy and you know that right now a toxic headspace, sometimes you're going to have to work that out on your own before you try a relationship with someone else, whether it be a partnership, friendship, whatever, because that energy can transfer. And now you toxic and you can make somebody else toxic.
Mm.
And that ain't the type of love and friendship that we want to share. We want healthy friendships. We want loving friendships. We want to feel like family.
What's your TSA on who Nic is as a friend? If you had to make a service announcement here on who Nic is as a friend and how he is, what would you warn people of in the most beautiful of ways?
Oh, honey, if I had to say about Nic, he is joy in the morning. He is laughter when you need it. He is always a helping hand, and he is safe for all.
Mm.
Yeah, he is. He is definitely a true friend indeed. But again, friend doesn't feel strong enough. He is my brother. He is my God brother. God chose him for me.
That's right.
And I'm so grateful that he did.
That's right.
And very talented. Very talented.
Not to mention. And not that much younger.
Right. He'll be giving me a job one day, honey. He'll be directing and all the things and a lead actor on a series, and he'll be giving me a job one day, honey.
Nic, what's your friendship a PSA in terms of what you would want our listeners to know about friendship and what you have learned from this connection?
There's an awareness, and again, I'm going to bring this back to acting training for me. There's an awareness in my body when a person feels safe, when a person's intentions feel pure. I can feel that within seconds or minutes around being around them. I feel that, I've had to grow to that as far as, every day I'm trying to be the best person I can be. But in the training, I think that you're charged with your senses being very heightened. So I can be in a room and know, there is that person, there's a dark energy there that I probably don't need to be around. And everybody has it, I think. I think everybody has it. I think that some people recognize it in themselves and fine tune it. I think part of my training helped do that. So for me, being around people where my senses feel at ease, where I'm at peace, I don't have to work so hard on building because it's organic, it's natural. So for me, I guess my TSA will be to, I guess as simple as trust your gut. See people, hear them. When you see the red flags, believe them. And that's what I think I lean into when I'm around my chosen people that I choose to be in my circle. Is your heart pure? Do you have the capacity to hurt me? If you do hurt me, will you be okay with making it better? You know what I mean? And so that's what I feel with my sister. Even if something happens and there's a miscommunication, I know that it's not intentional because you know what I mean? So that's what I would say. I would say, trust your gut around people. And then there's not, the effort is in you making yourself a better person, because in making myself a better person, I'm going to be a better person for them as well. It's not so much of me trying to build a friendship, trying to present something to keep a friend. No, it's I working at my, at my highest potential, at my best level. And do we share energy?
This is such a helpful reframe in a lot of ways, because the language, especially lately, when we're talking about red flags and green flags in relationships and toxic friendships, which, by the way, is going to be an entire episode and conversation of its own for all sorts of reasons, the emphasis is so often on other people. What are they doing? What are they saying? What are they not doing? And part of what I'm hearing from you is this invitation to check in with ourselves and question, how do I feel when I am around this person? And this fits so well with how I like to think about this. When people are questioning, is this a friendship worth saving? Is this a friendship that I can strengthen? It's checking in internally and asking yourself, how do I feel before, during, and after I have spent time with someone? That there's so much wisdom in that. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to cut and run if it's a friendship where you don't feel totally at ease or settled around. And yet, how often do we minimize our own inner knowing and reactions? And so I think this is such a great invitation to honor that as well, instead of putting the emphasis on what other people are doing, and an invitation as well to take a little bit of responsibility and question, okay, well, what can I do to strengthen my friendships? Very often that starts with not only checking in with ourselves, but taking responsibility for how we're showing up. So that's beautifully put. Okay, let's talk about we release episodes on Thursdays. Let's talk about Mondays, about Very Good Mondays. So you have had this series called Very Good Mondays, where you film yourself doing these beautiful unboxings. And in addition to getting a window into your friendship, part of what I love about this series is it's such a powerful way to showcase small businesses and incredible causes and initiatives, and to support others and draw attention to important stories. And I know that we all tend to underestimate the power that we can have as individuals to support our friends, especially when we don't have a public platform. And so I'm wondering, from your perspective, what are some of the small ways that friends have shown up for you over the years, online or offline, that have made a difference as you have been building these incredible careers and devoting yourselves to this personal and professional growth?
Oh my goodness, in so many ways. I mean, there's so many ways that friends show up, right? Like I said, you have children and you have to create your own village. Even from picking up my kids from school, because I can't make it, or taking them to an appointment for me, or, when I first started having my waist cape business. I used to sell these like waist capes. That was our first argument about my designs. Nick would go with me to help pick up fabric or go with me and, when I went and got my patterns made and to pick them up for me, like just different things. But also as an actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
There could be auditions that not necessarily I didn't get invited to or Nick didn't get invited to. I'm like, you should just submit a tape, like, or go to this audition, that kind of thing. That's what we do when you're in this industry, I used to do, like I said, giving is my love language. I just love to serve. I love helping people. It just makes me, there's no greater feeling. And so when we first moved here, we lived in an apartment in LA, and I went to acting class every week. And I started realizing, because I got married very young. And so, I was one of the only people in my acting class who was married with a child. And I started doing Sunday dinners in my apartment because I'm from the South. And so, on Sundays, you go to your grandma's house or your parents' house and you eat Sunday dinner. And so many of the actors in my class, they didn't have families. And so I started inviting them all to my apartment on Sundays, and I would feed everybody every Sunday. And it grew. I mean, there would be times there would be 60, 70 people in my small little apartment, me and my husband. And then to every house until now, I would always invite people for Sunday dinners to just feed them, because even when you didn't have money, right, if you can feed someone, it goes a long way. You hear the term starving actors. It's because we ain't making no money,
Well, and to your point earlier, so many people are also starved for connection and starved for community and for family. And especially if we are in careers or places in our lives where we are moving and social networks are disrupted, that sharing a meal together, it isn't just the nourishing in terms of the food, it's also the nourishing of all of those connection needs and that sense of belonging and togetherness. Yeah. This is Two Peas on a Pod, so I want to talk about unboxing friendship. If you were to unwrap a gift that this friendship has given you, what is inside of that box?
My friendship unboxing is laughter. It has been the thing that has helped me on many of days. Laughter is healing. And Nick brings laughter every time. Like, some of my darkest days I spent with Nick. And even though those days were very hard and I thought that tomorrow wouldn't come for me, he filled those days with laughter. And it made me hopeful. Mm-hmm. It made me believe that, well, maybe God is going to keep me. Maybe I won't die. Maybe I will heal. Maybe I will get better. And it was the laughter. It was the connection of having a brother, and being seen, because I knew many days he was intentional about making sure I laughed. He was trying to make sure that I felt good. And so, as light as laughter can be, it can also be very heavy. And sometimes somebody needs to help you carry your laughter.
Yes.
And that's what the box holds for me.
Mm. In 2022, you both appeared in a Tab Time episode centered around loving who you are. And so I want to end us off here. What do you love most about your friendship? And what do you hope never changes, even as your lives and careers continue to evolve, thinking ahead?
What I love most is that it was organic. It was never forced. And what I hope never changes is us, the way we could have, the way the storytelling that we do, the laughter and the cutting up, I live for it daily. So I pray that never changes. I look forward to sitting on a porch, rocking back and forth our rocking chairs with 90 years old with a sweet tea.
Wigs optional. Yeah. And Nick, what about you? What do you hope never changes about your friendship?
I love our authenticity, our truth, and, and the availability to be honest, even when our voice shakes. I hope that never changes. Hey, well, it's a choice. It'll never change, because that's what makes my friendship with my sister different than most relationships. We wheel and deal, and sometimes we put a representative of who we are to deal in the world. I don't want to have to do that with my best friend. I don't want to do that. And we don't. So I hope that never, ever changes. And our ability to take a moment that might be heavy or sad or and find the love and laughter in there. Laughter is the medicine.
It is.
You have used so many lovely words to describe each other, to describe your friendship and our time together. We have one last game for you before we end our conversation today. I will ask you to describe your friendship honestly in one word. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Love.
I cheated.
That is cheating, especially anyone who's ever played rock, paper, scissors knows that is cheating. You need to give your answer at the same time.
I cheated. I'm sorry. Look, do over. I got to admit, I cheated. All right, let's do it on. Okay. I ask us another.
You have a different answer. I can have a different.
You can give a second word. We're absolutely not doing any do-overs. That was honest. That was amazing. I love the laughter. That is the end. Wrap it up. This was such a great conversation. I'm so appreciative that we got to spend this time together, and you have just helped us to think about your friendship in such a beautiful way, and to think of our own friendships in such a empowered and supportive way, in terms of the intentionality that you bring, the role of laughter and joy, in terms of the little micro rituals that you practice, and this piece of just seeing each other and allowing each other to be exactly who you are, and for that to be enough is so beautiful. So thank you so much for being our very first 2 Ps on our pod.
Very good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, that was such a meaningful conversation. And honestly, you could just feel the closeness between them. And I think that's part of what I'm loving so much about these conversations and this show already, that we can learn so much about people through the lens of the people that they love most. And that hearing real, nuanced, joy-filled friendships like this can actually help us imagine what's possible in our own relationships too. And that realistic, feel-good friendship stories deserve to be shared and celebrated. What stands out most from my conversation with Tabitha and Nic today was their explanation that being friends turned family didn't even feel like a choice, that they felt so closely connected that this label was almost reflexive. Because it's true, some friendships do feel immediate, familiar, almost reflexive. Like Tabitha and Nic described, there's this sense of, like there you are, I know you, I see you. But what's also clear to me is that friendships like this aren't sustained by chemistry alone. They're built through choice, through consistency, through showing up again and again across changing seasons of life, through health challenges and unpredictable careers to extraordinary success and personal growth. All of this is a choice, and it's an ongoing one. So here's your friendly reminder. If you're longing for friendships that feel deeper, that feel safer, that feel more like chosen family, those relationships are often built in really small, intentional ways. By cheering for your friends, privately and publicly, by mentioning their names in rooms full of opportunity, by finding reasons to gather, excuses to gather because you cooked too much pasta or found a funny little trinket that reminded you of them, by folding each other into your real lives. Yes, of course, celebrations and milestones, but also messy kitchens and sweatpants and escalating laundry piles and rambling voice notes, all of it. And maybe, most importantly, by allowing our friends to keep becoming, to evolve, to surprise us. And by making it clear, I am still here. I still choose you as you are growing into who you are. Because the strongest friendships aren't built on staying the same. They're built on letting each other grow while continuing to find your way back to one another. Thank you so much for joining me on Two Peas on a Pod today. I will be right back here with you next week for another episode. In the meantime, let's stay connected. Follow the show on your favorite podcast platform. Connect with me at the Two Peas on a Pod and at Miriam Kermeyer across social channels. And of course, make sure that you share today's episode with a friend or a sibling. Until our next catch up, take care of yourself and the people in your pod. I will see you back here next week. Two Peas on a Pod is hosted by Dr. Miriam Kermeyer. Executive produced by Zoe Travis, Matthew Hoffman, Katya Kaminsky, and Dr. Miriam Kermeyer. Produced and edited by Podcast Nation. Producers, Madison Britt and Alicia Paneer. Audio engineer, Miles Carter. Original music by Sarah Walk. Created by Zoe Travis and Matthew Hoffman. Two Peas on a Pod is recorded in Montreal and Los Angeles. Today's program contains information that is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This program is not a substitute for psychological or medical advice. Please seek out your own support and research as needed. Take care, friends.